call the Tuesday, September 10th, 2024 Arcata Fire District regular meeting to order. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerks, please call roll.
Director Arcata?
Here.
Director Johnson? Here. Director Maynard?
Here.
Director Mendoza?
Here.
President Loudenslager?
Here. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion or comments from the board? There's no comments from the directors. Is there any comments from the public? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Arcata?
Yes.
Director Johnson? Yes. Director Maynard?
Yes.
Director Mendoza?
Yes.
President Loudenslager?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public comments and association reports. Any person may address the district board on any subject pertaining to district business, which is not listed on the agenda. The comment is provided by the Ralph M. Brown Open Meeting Act and may be limited to 3 minutes for any person addressing the board. Any request that requires board action may be set by the board for a future agenda or referred to staff. Does anyone want to make a public comment? Seeing none, monthly association reports, local 4981.
Good evening. So in your board packet, you'll have our explained activity report. I'll briefly go over it. So activities last month. The executive board of Local 4981 and Chief Emmons started a standing weekly meeting held on Monday mornings. These meetings are wide-ranging in content from district projects, activities, and direction to labor management relations. It's been great so far. We've had a handful. We did take the Labor Day weekend off. Very excited to keep these going, and we've been calling them Momentum Mondays. We're trying to keep the good energy and positive work that everybody's been doing, keep it moving forward. Next item. Our e-board conducted multiple candidate interviews for the 2nd District Assembly seat. It is now down to 2 candidates, and the local has decided to endorse Chris Rogers for the 2nd District Assembly seat. The breast cancer awareness t-shirts that you have sitting in front of you. As promised last meeting, we're going to have some for demo. They're all now for sale. These ones are actually yours to keep. The local voted to give them all to the board of directors, 1 shirt. If you'd like to purchase more, it's $20, and the proceeds plus a smaller donation or another donation from the local is going to be going to Cancer Awareness Foundation.
When do you need that by?
What's that?
When you get the order in, or when do you want the?
Already have.
Okay.
Yep. They're available for purchase now at the McKinnonville station. You can check in with Katie. Nathan Baxley left our organization and accepted a job at Humboldt Bay Fire as a battalion chief. We're very excited for him and hoping to keep good lines of communication open with him to start working a little more frequently with Humboldt Bay Fire. With Nathan's departure, Arlie Allen was promoted to captain. She was on an active promotional list. Arlie's a dedicated member, always looking for ways to better the district and herself, and we look forward to see how she can elevate the fire captain rank. And the last is Chief Emmons and I sat in on a Zoom meeting with with Leo Buck, who's a campaign manager based out of the Ukiah area. He actually used to be a firefighter with Humboldt, and he taught a class up here that I took about, this was 10 years ago, about electric vehicles and hybrid vehicle electrification. It was a pretty good class. So once I saw him, I was like, hey, I know you. So it's neat to put the name in the face. We were kind of granted this opportunity by the locals concerning state level politics. We were actually recommended him by Chris Rogers, and he hooked up the connection. The discussion was centered around strategies for a public education and informational campaign for our residents of our district. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Arcata Volunteer Fire Association.
Excellent, thank you, Steve, nice presentation. Same thing, you have this in your packet, or my monthly activity report. About 30 hours volunteer time in the month of August. A lot of it was the Cal Poly response to the Cal Poly drill, the annual drill. 8291 and 8209 we responded. Had a real good turnout from the DOU for that. Biggest challenge there was learning how to back out of very narrow streets in Arcata, Cal Poly Humboldt with 8291. I got a lot of training and a lot of direction for doing that. Only 6 students for our CPR last month, pretty quiet. For grants, the $58,000 grant for the slide-in pump was approved by bird funds. That's, I guess, going to the flight bed, but there's other discussion, but that's a really good get. We're resubmitting the grant for the hose in November. We also submitted an $18,000 grant to Central Coast. We're planning on submitting one at Central Coast in October. And the Simpson family is basically opening up for additional grants for 2025 cycle. A couple of things. We approved the modification to our mortgage on this facility with Redwood Capital a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure the exact status. We did it just before September 1. Waiting for that to change. That will change the rent on this facility to, I think it's like $10,260, something like that, per month. And we're also finalizing our review of the draft option letter, which you guys should talk about tonight. So, good. Thank you, Roy. Thank you.
With that, we have a closed session. Anytime during the regular session, the board may be adjourned to closed session to consider existing or anticipated litigation, liability claims, real property negotiations, license and permit determinations, threat to security, public employee appointments, personnel matters, evaluations and discipline, labor negotiations, or to discuss with legal counsel matters within the attorney-client privilege. So we have a closed session dealing with lease and option, purchase option for this building. So we will retire the closed session.
salsa chips.
I know, and but this is probably more.
We are,
Mike's spot.
back in open session. Closed session is done. Back in open session, and there's nothing to report out. Consent calendar. Consent calendar items are considered routine and are acted upon by the board with a single action. Members of the audience wishing to provide public input may request that the board remove the item from the consent calendar. Comments may be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone from the public that would like anything pulled from the consent calendar? Is there any board member that would like anything pulled from the consent calendar? Since there's no comments, I will entertain a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion that we approve all items on the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Director Arcata,
Yes.
Director Johnson,
Yes.
Director Maynard,
Yes.
Director Mendoza,
Yes.
President Loudenslager,
Yes.
motion carries.
We don't have our little buttons on here, so I have to scroll all the way through. It's all right, you're not in any trouble. I'm just explaining
Should
why.
put this little thing on your side.
It's like, it's not working. No, you have to look to the side. You can just grab that.
Okay, district business. Item number 1 is a public hearing to adopt the 24-25 annual budget. We have a staff report.
Sure. So background is it's pursuant to the government code 13-895, the board is required to adopt the final budget after making any changes to the preliminary budget no later than October 1st. The board adopted the preliminary fiscal year 24-25 budget via the consent calendar on June 13, 2024, regular board meeting. Since that meeting, staff have been able to refine projections to reflect more exact revenue and expenditure calculations for this fiscal year. The following is a summary of changes to be included in the final budget. As you can see, with the total revenues, we're projecting $7,168,000, which is estimated to be about 15% lower than fiscal year 23-24. Out of all of the tax revenues, it's about $6,652,000 in tax revenues. The revenue amounts were adjusted from the preliminary projections. Staff has applied a conservative 1.5% growth factor on the property tax revenue from the prior fiscal year end. According to the county, they are projecting a 5% growth countywide for fiscal year 24-25, but it is best practice to keep our projections below the 2% rate that property tax can adjust. The revenue for the district property assessments is calculated using the assessor parcel list and applying the 2020 special tax and 2006 benefit assessment values. There is also a 3% reduction to each fund to account for parcels that go uncollected during the fiscal year. The 2020 special tax is projected to generate about $2.28 million, with the 06 benefit assessment at $1.43 million. The rest of the tax revenue items are projected based on the 10-year average. As you can see, we have about $250,000 in use of money in property. This category is estimated based on funds kept in the county treasury, Redwood Capital Bank, and CalTrust. Money held at CalTrust has been earning over 5% monthly. There's $34,000 in intergovernmental. As of 2024, the money received is primarily from property owner tax relief, air quality reimbursement, and Proposition 172 disbursements. There's 92,000 in charges for service. We incurred a 17% decrease based on the amount collected from the previous year. This is essentially as an anomaly for fiscal year 23-24 is not anticipated to be what is averaged. There was 140,200 in miscellaneous revenue. The significant change from this category is from the sale of a pickup truck and receipt of disbursement from the Orba May Emerson Endowment Fund. Fiscal year 23-24, we received a loan for the engine, and in fiscal year 24-25, received the second installment out of 7. When we get into our expenses, we're looking at $7,009,000 projected, estimated to be 4% lower than the 23-24 fiscal year end. We've got about $4,503,000 in salaries and benefits. The subcategories were adjusted to reflect actual projected costs based on current staffing levels. Overall, salaries and benefits category increased by 3% from the amount in 23-24 fiscal year end. $1,226,000 in service and supplies. Overall, the services and supplies category increased by 25% from the amount in the 23-24 fiscal year end. Items that were significant increases for expenses were turnout maintenance and testing, were mandated to do that. Apparatus maintenance from previous deferred maintenance issues, deferred station maintenance, including painting of the McKinleyville station, purchase of a needed records management system to replace the soon-to-be unsupported system, legal services, and financial consultant services. We are also adding a behavioral health component to the health and wellness program. Transportation and travel is a conservative cost projection due to increases in fuel costs and attendance at training. And then the minor equipment category has a significant increase to replace hose and nozzles that have exceeded their lifespan. $1,280,000 in other expenditures. In this section, the budget was updated with an increase over the preliminary budget to cover the cost of a command vehicle and new rescue tools, essentially JAWS, new set of JAWS. The overall category is down from fiscal year 23-24, but increases from what the preliminary budget indicated.
Are there any questions, comments from the directors? Start down at this end.
I actually called Chief Evans earlier today and had some questions that he was able to answer to my satisfaction. So I appreciate that time. Thank you very much. And that's it for me.
I have no questions.
Director Johnson?
Oh, I have no questions. We already hashed it out.
Is that, in services and supplies, is that 25% increase, is that gonna be going forward, or is that kind of a one-off?
So it's kind of a one-off. We're looking at some big purchases this year that we projected as far as, let's see, what was it? The most significant one was probably our records management system was pretty big, but the turnout maintenance didn't happen last year. That in itself was $12,000. Apparatus maintenance, we've had some significant issues that we've been deferring that will have to be addressed, or we will cease to use certain apparatus.
It's a one.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Director Johnson and I had a meeting with the chief about this, and so my questions have largely been answered. I'll invite any comment from the public. Seeing that there's no comments, I'll call for a motion.
I move the board adopt fiscal year 2024-25 budget as presented.
I'll second.
And will the clerk call the vote?
Director Arcata?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Yes.
Director Maynard?
Yes.
Director Mendoza?
Yes.
President Landsleiter?
Yes.
Motion carries.
District business item number 2. Adopt resolution 24-317 approving an option agreement with the Arcata Volunteer Firefighters Association for the potential acquisition of the 9th Street Station and finding the action exempt from CEQA. We have a staff report.
The Arcata Fire Protection District Board of Directors have been in discussions regarding a potential option to purchase agreement with the Arcata Volunteer Firefighters Association for the 9th Street Fire Station and property. Through direction to the board ad hoc committee, staff, and district council, a resolution approving the option agreement with the AVFA has been drafted. The option agreement grants the district the right to purchase the property from AVFA at any time between execution and August 31st, 2026 for the then current balance on the mortgage, currently $1.5 million. During the term of the option agreement, the district will continue to lease the property from AVFA under the terms and conditions of the existing lease agreement. If the district purchases the property, the district will lease back to AVFA portions of the property so that AVFA can continue to operate and provide educational opportunities to the communities. The draft resolution for the option agreement of the 631 9th Street Fire Station states that the action is exempt from CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act requirements. Staff recommends to the board take public comment, discuss, approve resolution 24-317, approving an option agreement with the Arcata Volunteer Firefighters Association for the potential acquisition of the 9th Street Station and finding the action exempt from CEQA.
Are there any questions from the directors? Director Johnson?
Oh, no, I'm just clearing my throat.
Director Maynard? There's none from me. Are there public comments?
I guess I gotta say something. This is a long time coming. We've been talking about this type of transaction for years. And we had a real good chance to review the option agreement. We had some questions, we had some concerns, comments. We got our lawyers involved, we kind of worked it out. There's still some questions relative to how things are going to work as far as communication goes. And some of the issues associated with if there's any kind of issues with how we're managing our presence here in the facility that we will no longer own. But again, I'm glad we're working it out, and we'll get this settled, and that's probably the best thing for this facility to be a part of Arcata and Arcata Fire District. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 24-317, approving an option agreement with the Arcata Volunteer Firefighters Association for the potential acquisition of the 9th Street Station, and finding the action exempt from CEQA.
I'll second.
Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, would the clerk call for the roll?
Director Arcata?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Yes.
Director Maynard?
Yes.
Director Mendoza?
Yes.
President Lounslinger?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Roy, thank you for all your hard work.
Thanks, Ryan.
District business item number 3. Adopt resolution 24-318, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of certain financial documents for the purpose of financing the acquisition of real property facilities comprising the district's fire headquarters facility and providing for other matters properly relating thereto. We have a staff report.
Yes. So the Arcata Fire Protection District Board of Directors have been in discussions regarding potential option to purchase agreement with the Arcata Volunteer Firefighters Association for the 9th Street Fire Station. Through direction Through direction to the board ad hoc committee, staff and district council, a resolution approving the option agreement with the ADFA has been drafted. Our financing team, the staff has consulted with Weiss Law and California Municipal Advisors, the consultants that have assisted the district with previous transactions. The team also includes the utilization of the California Municipal Public Financing Authority, a municipal contracting agency serving local government agencies in California to provide the requisite financing for this undertaking. The authority offers a wide range of competitive procured products, equipment, and service opportunities, enabling participating local government agencies to leverage the benefits of cooperating financing to reduce procurement costs. So the financing parameters, after discussion with the board and consultants, staff is recommending a 20-year fully amortizing repayment structure with annual debt service payments of approximately $130,000. By purchasing the 9th Street station, the district will save approximately $122,500 annually in rent expenses. The 20-year loan will be prepayable without penalty after 5 to 7 years, giving the district the option to partially or fully prepay the loan using surplus funds, should the board choose to do so. Measure F is set to expire in 2030, which will create a projected structural deficit approximately $1 million annually starting in fiscal year 29-30. While the district is actively working on a long-term plan to address this deficit, lenders will require assurances that debt service payments will continue to be made in full and on time. To address this, staff recommends setting aside approximately $1.25 million in a special reserve fund dedicated solely to ensuring debt service payments in case of future shortfalls. This fund, which will remain district-owned and invested at the best available rates, will only be accessible for debt service payments in the event of a shortfall. The special reserve fund will be released from these restrictions and revert to unrestricted district funds upon the earlier of 1, resolution of the structural deficit, or 2, full repayment of the financing used to purchase 9th Street station. The exact terms of the financing will not be known until after the authority undertakes a formal bid process on behalf of the district. The bid process ensures that the district is receiving the best possible terms and conditions in the current municipal marketplace. Once the authority receives the bids, the chief, with the help of Weiss Law and CalMuni, will be able to select the proposal with the best terms and conditions. This process takes about 3 weeks to complete. If the chief selects one of the bids, the financing should be able to be completed in October. Installment purchase financing. To facilitate the financing process, the authority will sell the project to the district pursuant to an installment loan purchase agreement between the authority and the district. The district, under the loan agreement, agrees to purchase the project from the authority in the exact amount of the semi-annual debt service on the loan. Title remains with the district at all times. The authority is merely a conduit facilitator of the loan financing arrangement and does make money by taking a spread on the interest rate. The authority charges a flat fee of $12,500, which covers its internal costs as well as regulatory compliance fees. The authority also charges an annual fee of the greater of 50 basis points times the aggregate principal components of the loan payments outstanding on the first day of the month in which the anniversary of the closing date occurs, or to $750. These charges cover the authority's annual cost to administrate the loan, including required accounting and regulatory filing. Summary of the financing documents. Resolution 24-318 authorizes and approves the form of a Series 2024B installment loan purchase agreement and irrevocable payment instructions, which are necessary to provide for the successful consummation of the project purchase. The 24 loan agreement and instructions are each briefly described as below. The 2024 loan agreement, this is an agreement between the district and the authority, which sets forth the covenants and specifics of the loan obligation, including the district's promise to make future semi-annual debt service payments, the right to purchase the asset, the district's duties, repayment mechanisms, and the financial institution's rights and remedies in the event of default. The 2024 loan agreement also includes details of the obligation, equipment acquisition project of 2022 to the Series 2021 taxable revenue obligations, CalPERS UAL prepayment project, and one Series 2024A loan obligation equipment acquisition project of 2024. The district shall pledge and grant a security interest to the extent permitted by law in all gross revenues to secure the obligations of the district under the loan agreement. Irrevocable payment instructions. This is an agreement between the district, the authority, and the winning bidder for the financing, which constitutes irrevocable instructions by the district authorizing and directing the authority to transfer the loan proceeds in accordance with the instructions. Summary of the opportunity: if the board correspondingly adopts the subject resolutions, staff with the aid of financing team will work with the authority and the selected financial institution to close the transaction at first possible opportunity, with the present target closing date being October of 2024. Recommendation from staff is staff recommends the board adopt resolution 24-318, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of certain financing documents for the purpose of acquiring the district's fire headquarters building and facilities, and authorizing other related actions in connection therewith.
Are there any questions from the directors? Seeing none, I invite public comments.
Thank you. I just want to state one more time, as I mentioned in my front thing discussion. We just refinanced basically. The payment's going to come down to $10,260 a month, which is not the 12.5 as we forecasted. So we took on a lot to do that. We took on more debt. That's what brought it down to 10.2. But anyway, that's what it's going to be. I'm not sure how that impacts this or this going forward, but just so if you can't beat this, then that's fine too. Okay, thanks.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution 24318, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of certain financing documents for the purchase of acquiring the district's fire headquarters building and facility, and authorizing other related actions in connection therewith.
We've had a motion and a second. Clerk, call the roll.
Director Arcata?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Yes.
Director Maynard?
Yes.
Director Mendoza?
Yes.
President Loudenslager?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Correspondence. I believe that's where we are. We had a wonderful drawing and thank you from the Tots camp that we need to acknowledge. There we go. I really like that. I really like that. This, I can't turn it around.
There we go. Got it.
And also a thank you from the Summer Algebra Institute. Prevention Specialist Alyssa Alvarez, Arlie Allen, Marcus Lillard, Jesus Barron, and Tony Freeman helped with the Algebra Institute team. Can you tell us what that is?
Let's go for it. So originally we thought these were kids that were really into math and potentially wanting to use that math skill and get jobs in medical fields and stuff like that. What we found out was the opposite. These were children that needed extra help in math, and it was held at 9 o'clock in the morning, and none of them were awaken up to feel dazzled by everything that was going on. We did get a lot of engagement once we brought them out to the engines, but them sitting down in a large, like lecture hall style,
Wasn't cutting it.
wasn't cutting it. So we switched it up a little bit, and they had a great time.
We even gave them our best dad jokes. And they were not responding.
I will tell you.
That's why they're called dad jokes. I just want to put that out there for you, Tony.
Algebra 2, I didn't know they made a sequel to that.
No.
Not easy.
Yeah, I can see that.
We didn't know what we were going to.
The most involved question we got in the whole like forum style was if my mustache was real or not.
That was a legitimate question.
That was a legitimate question.
Yeah, the deck gun is actually what I think won over.
Yeah.
Big water.
Yeah, they like that.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Mustaches.
Mustache for the record.
Are there any committee reports? I don't see that any of our committees would have anything to report here tonight.
No.
Okay, Chief's monthly report.
Sure. A lot going on in the month of August. So as you know, we had the air show, and we staffed it with an engine on standby up there, and we were able to we got a payment from the county for $9,210 and some change for the hours that it was up there providing coverage. Not only that, but we learned a lot from the staff that came in with it to talk about aircraft rescue and such. It was a great opportunity also to interact with the public, because they had about 10,000 spectators up there. So,
More food trucks.
yeah. I know we talked about it earlier, but I would like to announce again that Arlie Allen was promoted to captain effective September 1st. I've worked with Arlie for a long time over at Humboldt Bay, and then coming over here, her experience and knowledge is going to serve us well. She's a top-notch employee, and she's going to do well as captain. With that, we now have 2 openings for fire engineer, which we did open the recruitment and posted a flyer, and we're going to be seeking trade magazines and such to fly that on, so that we can do a recruitment, be more effective, I should say. We did extend a conditional offer to our assistant chief candidate. He's in the final phase of the process, and we anticipate a start date in early to mid-October. So we're looking forward to that. District personnel participated in this year's, and I should let you talk about this one, Battle of the badges for the blood drive.
We had a lot of participation. So there was 19 different agencies that participated in the Battle of the Badges, primarily first responder agencies. And we came in 3rd overall, but we won for most department participation. So our name got to go on a plaque at the blood bank.
Cool.
So it was a very good, it
Congratulations.
was a good year.
Really good. The Berg Foundation, as you heard before, funded a grant through the ABFA for a skid mount pump. So we're researching companies that will be able to build the pump module and mount it on one of the vehicles, possibly converting the use of the light rescue truck that we have as the logistics unit into a Type 6 fire engine. The fire service, so one of the things that I've done over the last several years of going back to the National Fire Academy and my executive fire officers, we've seen the change from fire prevention to community risk reduction. It's a concept that has gained a lot of traction nationwide, where we've gone from solely talking about fire prevention to a holistic approach of community risk reduction and safety throughout. Might be talking about car seat safety, slips, trips, and falls, as well as the fire safety aspect of it. So one of the things that I've been doing is talking to our Fire Prevention Bureau, and I think what we're going to do is embrace taking on the community risk reduction concept, because it's a much broader, more holistic for us, aspect for us, and there's a lot of grant funding out there for it. So it's one of the things that I want to explore a little bit more. I actually had a meeting with the fire chief over at Humboldt Bay Fire, and we were talking about it, and he said it's been wonderful for them, so it's one of the things we're going to try to do.
What do you mean by rebranding?
Instead of calling it Fire Prevention Bureau, it'll be known as Community Risk Reduction. It's a no-cost item, it's a concept.
Okay.
So when we go out to the public, instead of saying fire prevention, where it's solely just thinking about oh, we're keeping fires from happening. We're actually talking about car seat safety, maybe keeping kids from getting electrocuted, valves, things like that. Just various things, bike helmets, bike safety, all kinds of stuff.
Please.
That'll go a long way with your measure.
Yes, it will. I've been thinking about that. So I've been attending regular meetings with city officials, which has generated positive feedback between agencies. Ongoing projects with the city that impact the district are being identified early, such as some of the issues that come up with bike lanes and projects they're working on, like Safer K Street, water tanks, just various projects that are out there. So it at least gets them talking to us early on instead of at the last minute, and then having to play catch up with it. So let's see, upcoming events. We have our Fire Prevention Week open house. We're bringing that back October 5th. Yeah, October 5th. We're going to have an open house up at McKinleyville Station.
You mean community risk reduction?
Yeah. Point taken. Touche. Our Community Risk Reduction Week open house. Old house die hard. So we'll have other vendors coming in, ambulance company, law enforcement. We're hopeful that depending on weather and fire activity, we might even be able to get CAL FIRE in with a helicopter in the field behind us. So, obviously that's weather dependent. One thing I should mention, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with the McKinleyville Home and Garden Center up in McKinleyville, obviously. They do what's called a roundup. So when people go through the cash register line, they're asked to say, would you like to round up to, $15 from $14.72. And through doing that, they did it for the month of August, and they just presented us with a check for $1,698.69 through doing that. We definitely want to recognize them. They're very committed to the organization and helping the community. I guess that takes me to my notable incidents.
Is that the Ace Hardware or?
Yeah, that's the Ace Hardware. For August, we had our most notable incidents where we had a fire at the West Village Apartments. It's the old Red Roof Inn. It was a single apartment. It activated a sprinkler system with one occupant in it that was experiencing smoke inhalation. It was actually Captain Baxley's last fire with us just before he left. It was a large complex, and we had all of our mutual aid partners playing a role. Excuse me. Arcata police officers got there just before us, and they were tremendous in evacuating the structure. They were able to get into the area and get everybody out, which really freed up us to focus on fire attack. Let's see. We had a fire on Market Avenue in McKinleyville. It was primarily exterior damage, correct?
Yes.
And then you had another fire out. There was an RV fire on Daffodil, McKinleyville, with a burn victim. Total loss of that RV and the second RV on site. And that one was a malfunction stove.
Yeah, the victim said that he was lighting the stove and it blew up in his face and caught the party on fire.
I put this one in here. We don't normally report on the medical side of things, but I put it in there that we had a major medical in McKinleyville, or on McKinleyville Avenue. And the reason being is it's a lot of times we're not necessarily using our AED, our defibrillator, external defibrillator, as often as when the ambulance gets there and they have their 12-lead system. But this was one where we did, or the engine company did. Were you on that one?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to elaborate on it at all?
Sure, yeah. So we have dispatched to CPR in progress. The engine company and the ambulance company arrived pretty much at the same time. We get there, we move the patient to a more workable area within the apartment complex and start doing our job. The ambulance company had an equipment malfunction that rendered their heart monitor effectively useless for the call. So what we ended up doing, Captain Ryan Schmidt and I adapted as quickly as we could. I had him run out and grab our AED, so our pads are interchangeable. So we had some sort of defibrillating system and heart monitor rhythm check available for the patient, and continued to have that and the Lucas device with the patient all the way into the emergency room when the AED finally got removed, and then the Lucas device stayed for another 20 minutes or so.
Thanks. Yeah, it was, I mean, it shows that even though both ambulance and fire are going, they rely on us just as much as we rely on them. So it was, I don't know if it ultimately became a positive outcome, but at the time it was a positive incident.
I made the best of the situation that we could.
Yeah.
Does the ambulance have the Lucas device too, or just us?
No, we're the only agency, I believe, in the county. So I don't even think the hospitals have them. I know Baton River for a fact does not.
You happy with that device?
For the most part, yeah. There are definitely some limitations. Battery powered, however, it does have a landline option for extended operations. There's definitely a size that it fits. You can be too big or too small for it. But for the most part, yeah, fantastic.
It's an intriguing device.
Side note, my former chief from Humboldt Bay that went to Crescent City, he carried one in his chief's rig because he was usually the one that was responding solo. So he could actually do two-person CPR essentially.
Yeah, forever.
Forever. Yeah. This one's notable. Electric arcing at Cal Poly Humboldt Creekside Lounge Laundry. Laundry unit had a failure and smoked up the Creekside Lounge at the east end of Granite Avenue. Evacuation was conducted, followed by smoke removal. Were any of you guys?
C-shift.
C-shift, okay. I didn't know if anybody had the details of it, but Creekside Laundry, or I'm sorry, the Creekside Lounge is a newer building, and that's my point, is that newer buildings still have issues, so.
Do we charge them?
Yeah, right. Okay, going into our mutual aid, we gave aid 5 times and received it twice. Our overlapping stats dropped to about 25%. It's still busy. I mean, we're still running quite a few calls. And our average response time is 4 minutes and 26 seconds, which is still really good. Fires, we had 20 total fires. Medical aids, rescues, 166, and a lot of good intent calls, a lot of false alarms, which we do bill for those. And then at the time, we had people that were out of town and on vacation that had not completed all of the reports, so the stats were incomplete. Apparatus out of service time, 2 frontline engines were out of service for a total of 120 hours in the month. Major repairs, August preventative maintenance has been on hold with engine 8211, which is our reserve, having a pump leak and needing all 6 of its batteries replaced. The batteries were beyond their lifespan and had degraded. The cost of replacing those batteries was $2,100. Engine 8219 had an electrical sensor in the door monitoring system fail, causing alarms in the engine. However, the issue has continued, but they're still working on it. The local vendor is now working on it with the manufacturer to obtain equipment for repair. That's the new engine, unfortunately. I think that, where's my prevention notes?
Door monitoring system.
So it says when the compartment doors are open or the cab doors are open. What it does
All of the doors.
yeah, if any of them are open or not latched, it flashes a light, sounds a really annoying alarm. So to tell them don't move. Fire inspector completed inspection of 428 units for the month of August. A 48-unit apartment complex was inspected with all 48 units passing. Obviously, this shows the importance of our inspection program and our community risk reduction program. Ongoing Community Risk Reduction Bureau projects include direction to reestablish as an effective county fire prevention officers group and with the regular attendance by Arcata fire personnel. As part of the fire prevention officers group, they're to discuss countywide standards with various municipalities. The fire marshal was also assigned to conduct a needs assessment for administrative code enforcement needs and standards. This is relative to the frequent calls we receive for overgrown vegetation, trash dumping, and vacant and abandoned structures, to name a few. You may have heard how the city of Eureka is working on ordinances. I can tell you the city of Arcata is working on ordinances for vacant buildings as well. They don't have anything as of yet, but I'm sure it will come this way. Public outreach, 3 hours, 50 children, 43 adults, 2 courtesy inspections at Cafe Phoenix and Humboldt County Resource Conservation District in McKinleyville. And I'm now attending Arcata Noon Rotary meetings, and we had 1 car seat installation. And that's all.
Thank you. Director matters. Are there any comments or director matters?
I'd just like to take a moment to thank all of our personnel. Tomorrow is 9/11 anniversary, so thank you now. There's a dinner tomorrow night that I know several of our members are going to be attending, a first responders dinner. So, hope you guys all enjoy that.
I'm sure we will. Probably.
And other than that, that's it for me.
Another?
Anything else for me? With that, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
I move.
I'll second.
We are adjourned.